If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men, okay? White, middle age.
Whoa. Hey, don't look at me crazy. I didn't say anything, okay? We're in this together. I didn't know where this was going. I just saw the DEI in the title, and I thought to myself, this may be something we want to get into. But yeah, this is okay. We're going there today. We're going there. All right. Well, let's see where we end up. Good luck.
Men with a family, AARP eligible, the ones that got the AAA, the ones that eat off the IHOP 55 plus menu, you know what I mean? The Medicare eligible ones, give me that. Give me that. Because as far as I'm concerned, the minorities, they like to make you pay back the dues that they had to pay in 1987 when they first got their job as the model minority. And they want to make sure that you have to do it too. Meanwhile, white man, he sees me, he goes, yep, let me give you this special project. What do you need? What's going to advance your career? How can I help you? None of the passive aggressiveness, none of the micromanaging, none of that extra shit, right? Give me Jim, Bob, Bill. Give me that. Don't give me the minority, because as far as I'm concerned, anybody that looks like me or identifies as somebody who would be a DEI hire, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not with it. I'm not with it. Y'all got a chip on y'all shoulder that I personally do not have the brain power to deal with. So as far as I'm concerned, hand me to the nearest white man. Thank you.
Yo, 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 yo. Y'all know it's a rarity for me to just let the whole thing play out, but damn it, I couldn't help but do exactly that today. I wanted the full story, full context, so help me God. All right, let's get into it. Do I agree? I think that answer would better be expressed with a little bit of story time. So here it goes. When I was first starting my career as a marketer, right, in my early 20s, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. School wasn't exactly going the way school was, quote unquote, supposed to be going, i.e., I was on the loud pack and I was more involved in those activities. I was in, the scholastic activities. And so I always had this tendency towards entrepreneurship, etc., even before I got to where you see me now. And let's just say during that time, I was looking to get my foot through the door. I was not going to work for any company. I wanted to do my own thing. So I started to get creative as far as who I could get as customers. One day I'm sitting in my barber's chair and I realized that my new barber, who was new in town, came from Florida, he was looking for somebody to continue to do his content. He was trying to carry forward what he was building back home and looking to build a brand for himself. And since then, he's actually become one of the most renowned barbers in the entire state. Will not mention names for privacy's sake. But let's just say that my first clients looked just like me, right? They were black, they were barbers. And when I tell you that never in my life since have I dealt with individuals who were harder to work with, not just as far as these expectations and all these sorts of things, but the attitudes and of course the pay. The pay was definitely a problem as well. Receiving your payments, getting excuses about not having the money. This is where I learned a lot of my first lessons, because during that time I was also then picking up other different clients I could do digital marketing for. And it turned out that this was quite a lesson for me when I came to realize that here were these older white men I was doing business with. There was a businessman turned pastor, and he was looking to build his brand more in that space, digitally, etc. I worked with him. Again, going to disclose the names, but he was one of the easiest guys to work with. He paid me above and beyond what I felt I even deserved at the time, but he believed in me. And I could say, some of these barbers believed in me, but to what extent, right? It's almost like dealing with your cousin or something of that nature, where they didn't necessarily have this full respect for you as a service provider. And so I learned early on in my early 20s that unfortunately, you cannot build your business based around, I want to serve these types of people because there's a quote unquote affinity to such people. I want to do business with those who are easiest to do business with. Now, the reason I give this long-winded, answer, the story, is because I get where she's coming from. I get it. I get why she's saying what she's saying. I've heard the same thing from women who have worked for other women, and how sometimes there's this weird ego thing going on. There's almost this, there may be jealousy or whatever else. There's a weird sort of complex that plays out sometimes with female employers with their female employees, and like how women had better experiences with male, not just counterparts, but male employers. Now, again, yes, things can get, they can get ugly, they can get freaky, and they can get damn right illegal. But in most cases, when you're dealing with sane people, non-psychopathic, sociopathic individuals, they're genuinely trying to build something and help you along the way. I have found this to be true as well. To say these older white men, whatever, that may mean, have been the easiest people to deal with. The easiest. And I'm not saying there aren't, black men or black women who I have not been able to do business with. One of them was actually my own aunt, and she is, a consummate business professional. And that's just her character, right? That's just who she is. But she is the anomaly. And she's had the same experiences in her own world, in her own multi-million-dollar businesses in the healthcare space. My pops, who's been an entrepreneur since day one, he's also had his own experiences. As much as he continues to try to help black people, African people, etc., has still had those experiences. So I'm not just talking on my rear end here. This ain't just pick on somebody time. I get where she's coming from. You want to deal with the people that are easiest to deal with. And when somebody is this DEI affirmative action hire, they are compensating for a lot. They feel inherently insecure. They already have this mentality of the white man, the white man, the white man. That's this inferiority complex that speaks in such a way. It's like the core of this entire black supremacy that we're seeing. I'm gonna call it what it is. This black racism towards white folks, etc. A lot of it is actually rooted in envy and jealousy. It's the same thing you see in the Middle East with the relationship between the Muslims and the Jews. How is this small group of 15 million people able to thrive and we are destitute, whatever? It must be their fault because they're doing this and they're doing that. They're doing this instead of personal accountability. The white man is doing this. The white man is doing that. Not exactly. You see, he has to go through the same trials that you got to go through in order to build something of substance. She's got to go through the exact. You're selling a product, a service. You still got to make a product, a service that people are willing to purchase. People love to talk about nepotism, etc. If the person is incompetent, the thing will eventually fall apart. Whatever race you may or may not be, whatever your gender may or may not be. So, man, this right here, again, I was not expecting the conversation to go this way, but I kind of glad I'm glad it is, because I believe that all conversations need to be had as clearly, as honestly as possible. And if we don't, then we don't actually get to the root of the problem. If we don't get to the root of the problem, then we don't actually have a cure, right? All you have is an alleviator of symptoms. All you have is a Band-Aid on a broken bone. It's never going to heal the bone. It's a flesh wound type situation. You're ignoring it basically, or you're coping as opposed to healing. And I'll look for, in my own personal life, to get to a place of healing. I don't want to cope with things anymore. So if I'm not succeeding, I want to get to the core. What are my belief systems? What do I believe about myself? Do I believe I'm worthy? Do I believe I'm adequate? Do I believe I'm deserving of this thing? Right? Do I have a money complex that does not allow me to be able to thrive and to prosper? Because if that's the case, then I have to fix that. No white man doing anything and not doing anything for me is going to fix that. No amount of all black employers and we got to have black bosses and black. And then how many stories do we hear about this black business, how the employees being treated, how the service providers as well as those who are receiving the service being treated? Terrible reputations, but yet you got to do business with them just because they look like you. And some people said, well, that's just the cost of building it's the cost of building a community. That's not true. We're going to do business with whoever is doing the best business, no matter what you look like. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one who has to pay for it. You're the one who has to pay for it. I'm the one who has to deal with this job and the advancement of my career. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to do this, this, and that. I want to deal with whoever's going to be easiest to deal with. I'm not saying that the work has to be easy in and of itself, or I don't need somebody to treat me with any sort of special favor. I just need somebody who's not going to be having an attitude. I need somebody who's not going to be trying to prove something every damn second. As a black man, as a black woman, as a woman, as a transform, I don't give a damn. I don't care. I don't care about the identifiers. I just care that you are going to do the best that you can so I can fit into that system and do the best that I can and we can win. Simple. So I agree with you. What's her name? Port of Somalia. I knew she was fellow tether because, you know, that's what they're going to call us, tethers. Y'all talking that tether talk. They call us tethers because they basically want to shame us into not having an opinion anymore about being a black American. So you're a tether. She might not be. Maybe she would. I mean, yeah, she looks like she got Arabic or something on her necklace. But yeah, I don't want that DI nothing. Didn't earn it. That's DI, right? It's not an original, but didn't earn it. I don't want that. I want somebody who is merit based. She said they got the special membership at IHOP. AARP. I've fallen and I can't get up. True mentorship. They don't have their ego still invested. They want to see the next generation prosper. Yeah, I can get down with that message for sure.